Hi homesteaders, my name is Melissa with Gullion Homestead. Welcome to my channel where I focus on homesteading skills, self-sufficiency, and resilience. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. So today, it's been a minute since I've done a video. It's been a couple of weeks. We've been super busy around our little quarter-acre lot, working in the garden. And if you don't know, we also own a winery, and so the market season has picked up and we've been at the markets, had some family in town, but today I wanted to do a garden tour. I love to watch other people do garden tours because it helps compare where my garden is to where their garden is and if I'm actually doing things right or not, and just how successful my garden is. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what I've got going on in my garden, the issues I'm having, some things that I've tried to see, and I'm working on trying to do some other things to see if I can just get more production out of my garden. So if you are new to gardening, this is probably going to be a great video for you because I have been gardening really for most of my adult life. I took a break for a while, but I have been upping the game actually since we lived on this property. So I started in 2021. So this is my fourth gardening season here at this property. And we have really upped the game at this property this year, specifically doing more vertical gardening and also doing some succession planting, which I've done really since I've been here, but I'm taking that up a notch this year just because I'm trying to get as much produce out of my garden as I can. So we're sitting right here on the edge of one of my larger gardens. It is a 5-foot by 12-foot garden. I have two 5 by 12 gardens. I've shared that on this channel before, and I've got a 3 by 12 garden that's right across from me. Then I also have I started a small raspberry patch in the back, not really going all that well. I'm not really sure. I'm new to growing raspberries, so I did a bare root plant. Still feel like maybe I need to give it some more attention back there, and I'll show you what's going on back there. I really need to work on that a little bit more, but I wanted to have fruit in my garden this year. So we have strawberries, I planted raspberries, watermelon, and cantaloupe. And then I have, that way I've got an herb garden that actually, we had a herb garden and then basically it was a tea and flower garden, and then I increased that to more herbs this year. So we've got, and I've shared that on this channel before too, so we've got some peppermint going and cilantro and all that business. So let's get started and let's look at what's going on here at this garden. Okay, so I'm going to show you, here are my sweet potatoes. They are doing great. If you remember, I did a video on sweet potato slips. There is, I believe, 4 sweet potato slips in there. This is vining out quite nicely, just the way I would expect it to. I've never grown this before, so I'm excited that they're doing some magic underground. They're looking great, and I'm thinking we'll probably get about, I think you can get anywhere from 5 to 6 sweet potatoes per plant. So maybe we'll end up with 20 or so sweet potatoes, which will be fine for Steve and I throughout the winter because we have lots of other things that we have in the garden that we're going to be preserving. So that'll just be kind of a good backup for us to have, is some sweet potatoes. So here I have my arched trellis. We'll get to this here in a minute, but that arched trellis is actually connecting 2 gardens. I've got some green beans growing on this side, and then we've got wax beans growing on that side, and you can see we're getting some great produce. We're getting a lot of harvest from this. The green beans are just starting, but we've got a ton of wax beans so far. We have had, let me back up so you guys can see what that looks like. It's really beautiful. Got some flowers going in there, and that's connecting this garden and that garden. But we're getting our bounty is way more this year because we are, because we're growing vertically. So we did a TP, like kind of TP vertical last year beans, and we did pretty well, although we had a beetle issue last year that was terrible. But so far this year, we have worked really hard at trying to defeat the beetles this year. I will show you a little bit about that here in a bit. So let's get going down here. So I've got some space right here in the garden. I've been kind of holding off about putting anything in here, basically because I put a new squash in. Let's see, I can't remember what squash that is. I think that might be, I can't remember if it's butter or I want to say that maybe it might be a spaghetti squash, but I can't really recall what kind of squash that is. But I have several different squash in the garden this year, which normally I just do spaghetti squash and butternut squash, but that hasn't really taken off too much yet. So I'm kind of waiting because I might need this space for it to actually grow. I have this vertical right here fence post that we put up, and I was trying to grow that squash vertically, but honestly, we put it in so much later. The squash was already developed, and that didn't really go that well. So it's there, but probably not going to get a whole lot that's going to grow vertically there. So we also just put in these mammoth pepper plants, and I'm already getting a pepper right there. If you guys can see that or not. There you go. You can see I'm getting a pepper. I have all these peppers growing back here, and I am getting some peppers back there or out as well. But now the squash has kind of overcrowded that, which I don't care about, because actually I'm kind of one that likes to pack things in tight anymore in my garden, because I just feel like I lose a lot of produce because I'm not going in tight enough. So, but they're not as big as what I want. I found these at Lowe's. They were 50% off. So I thought I'll go ahead and give those a try. Threw those on the ground last week. They were, of course, already well-developed plants. And my plan with those is so we can make some poppers. And I'm going to have those. Those are the really, really big jalapenos that you get sometimes at the farmer's market or at the store. So I'll probably get a lot out of that. It's only July, so I'm assuming that we're going to have all July, all of August, most of September. Here we're in zone 6B, so we should do pretty well with that. So I'm going to get you under here. You can see that this pepper plant is actually growing. There's some peppers there. It's actually growing in with the squash. It's doing fine. And then we've got some more. These are heirloom jalapenos. I've already gotten some of those out of the garden as well, which has been good. So they're not doing too bad for July. I guess sometimes get a little anxious about things coming in, but I feel like this garden is doing really well. Now here we did a vertical, another vertical area. We've got some watermelon and cantaloupe going. I just saw a little watermelon the other day. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. These right here are the watermelon leaves. So it's kind of hard to track where everything's going, but it's crawled up that trellis quite nicely. So on this side is fruit. We have watermelon cantaloupe on this side. It's flowering, and I've already seen some fruit. I can't find any right now, of course, on video, but it's actually doing pretty good. And then if you come over to this side, we did kind of like a T-shaped. So on this side, I've got spaghetti squash going. So that's all spaghetti squash. Then I planted, those carrots are the Black Nebula carrots from M.I. Gardner. I'm excited about. They're like a purple carrot, and it's a little bit orange in the middle, I feel like, if I remember right. But they're doing very well. You can see we still have, that's a 65-day carrot, so we still have another probably 4 weeks before those are going to be ready. Once those come out, as long as this doesn't take over too much, I'm planning on putting another harvest of carrots in for the fall, because my goal was to have between 60 and 100 carrots for the winter for us. And so that is one type of carrot. And then in here you can see there is I bet this is a loofah. So I'm growing loofah. So there's a little loofah I think that's what that is, because on this side is all loofah. Those are all loofah right there. And then this right here is, I think it's called an Oxford carrot. It's like a short, oh no, ox heart. It's an ox heart carrot. I see it now. And what I do when I plant my stuff, I put what it's called on one side. Oh, can you see that? I put what it's called on one side, and then I actually put days to germination. You can't really see that. Let's see if I can get you guys to see it. There you go. Days to germination, and then under that I put days to harvest. So that kind of helps me keep track. And then I typically put, see, I put this in on May 3rd. So it lets me know that 90 days from May 3rd, those should be ready to pull out of the ground. So stick that back in there. That's just a way I kind of keep track of things, especially if you're a new gardener. It's a great way, or you've never planted something, it's a great way for you to kind of keep track of where you're at in your garden through this season. So then I've got these zinnias right here. They're doing fabulous. They're great pollinators. I actually cut a bunch of them off yesterday, but and put them inside. But oh, there's a really pretty nice squash right there. That is probably a spaghetti squash. That's what that looks like, if you ask me. Could be wrong, but I think that's what that is. So yeah, that's beautiful. Excited. We love spaghetti squash. Yeah, that looks great for the first week in July. That's exciting. I'm gonna have to get like a nylon out here. I've got some old nylons from like years ago I've been saving for this project, and to help support that, to keep it hanging, and so it doesn't get too heavy, or also I don't want it to get any spots by leaning up against this this metal stuff here. So yeah, anyway, these are great pollinators, and I'm letting some of these go to seed. I was watching a video yesterday where some people actually let these go to seed, and sometimes they come back. I thought maybe, wow, might be an awesome thing if I could get these to come back. But those are doing fabulous, and they bring all kinds of pollinators to this area, which I needed, because sometimes I feel like even though you have flowers in your squash that actually bring pollinators as well, it doesn't hurt to have extra so that you can get as much pollination, so you can get as much fruit. So that's what I was trying to do here. All right, so here's my peppers again. I've got, you can see we've got some, these are I think they're cayenne peppers. Yeah, those are cayenne peppers. Those are, I've already pulled some of those before they turn red, and actually have done a little preserving with those when they were green, because they're just not as hot, I don't think. All right, here we've got scallop squash. Here you go. You can see we've got one that probably I will pull later today. I've only had one other one of these squashes that I've pulled out. I have white and yellow. And then I've got another squash in here, or I can't remember the name of it. I wonder if it says, I have a white scallop, I have a yellow scallop, and then we've got like, it kind of looks like a pumpkin. It's between a butternut. Maybe it's Hubbard. I think it's a Hubbard squash that's right there. So that is going to be great for fall. It'll be great for soups, but also just great for decorating, and I thought that was kind of fun. So yeah, squash is doing fabulous, as you can see. All right. All right, you guys, I may have had a microphone failage here, so if my microphone sounds kind of funky, we got a new one to put in to our space, or onto me, so that you can hear me better. Sometimes it's hard to hear outside. So let's look at this arch here. I wanted to talk to you about the problem that we've had with Japanese beetles. So I've done a video before talking about our Japanese beetles, but we've had issues with the Japanese beetles. As you can see, there's some damage right there. Okay, guys, so as you can see, that's our trellis, and we had some pretty good damage starting to happen to some of our green beans. This over here, let me see, these were really bad, and it's just really part of it. It's just what happens. But we were trying to beat it this year. So we were like gonna get on top of it. Also, let me just show you right here. See, we've got some good green beans coming in. We're going to be ready to do some canning probably in the next 3 to 4 days because we have blooms all over this thing. But, and it crawls up this trellis quite nicely, but we had a big issue with Japanese beetles last year. So we got proactive, and we actually, about 30 feet away, put in this beetle trap. This is a Japanese beetle trap. It's an organic way for your garden because you're not spraying anything on your plants. And let me show you inside. It actually collects, like, I'm not kidding, like there's thousands of beetles in there. And then we have another one right over there. So we've got two that are 30 feet from our trellis, and it's actually protected. We still got some damage, but not as much as we would have anticipated. So just a reminder, we're in a 1/4 acre lot. We live in a neighborhood, and we're homesteading and growing as much of our own food as we can. Steve and I are pretty good at eating what we have. This year I'm working on getting more variety into our life. And that's why we did some of the scallop squash, Hubbard squash. I wanted some fruit this year. I wanted to do some fruit concentrates so that we have stuff for kombucha and lemonade and mixed drinks, whatever we want. So we're pretty good about eating just whatever we get out of our garden. Last year we did that, but we got kind of bored with what we had. So that's why I am doing a lot of succession. That's why I'm doing a lot of succession planning this year. Okay, so first time that I've grown onions from plants. I've done onion sets before. So far, not super happy with the way the onions are coming out. These onions were put in, I'm pretty sure we did these in April. And although these are not dead yet, I took the advice of my gardener and cut these off to see if I could get more nourishment to my onion. Not sure it's really done a whole lot of good. I will say that we've had a couple of really strong windstorms here, like very strong. And I thought we were going to lose our trellis actually. And cutting those off probably did save the onions a little bit because they didn't cause the leaves to actually fold over. I have a couple that have started to fold over. There's one right there. This one's decent size. I'm really just going to keep them in the ground as long as I can to see if they get bigger, but they're really not as big as I wanted them. And these are storage onions. So this year I decided to go with plants. I bought them from a resource online I've never purchased from before. I mean, I have like 120 onions. So maybe it'll still be enough because they're small. They're not very big, but I'm not sure that they're going to store very long at this size. So we've got red onions and white onions. I planted them at the base of my green beans. Now this one is actually pretty good size. So not really sure. Maybe they'll get better. But just thought I would share that with you. This one, see, this one's fallen over. Normally when they fall over, they're no longer giving any nutrient to the onion. So that's always what I've heard. And so this one would be a good one to pull. Just go ahead, and this one as well. See, they're small, but what I could do is last year when I had my onions go bad that I bought from a grower, I actually just chopped them up and put them in the freezer, and then I had onions all winter long. I had this goal to actually hang my onions in the garage and above my garlic and braid it like you do. There's a way that you can braid onions too, and I really had that set in my heart to do that, but I'm not sure that's going to happen this year, but it's okay. I mean, it's just what happens. Sometimes things like this happen. I might end up buying some from the farmer's market. You can see right there, there's a red onion. It's completely flopped over and it's loosey-goosey there. I might let it sit for just a little bit longer to see if it actually pulls together. Okay, so there we've got some more pollinators. The zinnias this year are my favorite, and I bring them in the house, and these things have just exploded. So I started those in the house and then planted them out here. So they're doing great. Absolutely would do this again. These are my pickling cucumbers. I've never done pickling cucumbers before, but man, we have got, I don't know if I've got any cucumber. There's a little, let me see if I can find it for you guys. There's a little cucumber right there. And there's blooms all over this thing. So I'm not really sure. Somebody can probably tell me this. I'm not really sure what's going on here. If this is a nutrient thing, a soil thing, I'm not sure if it's too wet. Not really sure. I need to look that up later. But if anybody has any thoughts on that, please put that in the comment section. I've never grown cucumbers on a string trellis before, and this year we have a string trellis. So we're growing cucumbers. I might go ahead and pop some more of those in the ground because we still have, I mean, honestly, we still have it, I would say a good 60 days, if not 80 to 90 days in our growing season. So I absolutely could put some more cucumbers, but I really wanted pickling cucumbers this year because I want to be able to grow. I only wanted to grow this one time. This is what I do a lot of times. I will grow something, a whole bunch of something 1 year and preserve enough for 2 years. And then next year I would put something else in that area. So we're not big cucumber eaters, but we do like pickles and relish and that kind of stuff. And so that's why I put those in. So I really would like to get more out of that. So I'm thinking I might go ahead and stick some more cucumbers. I lost 2 tomatoes right here. I actually just put one in right there to see if I could get it to bounce back. But we could put some cucumbers in here and that would probably do. Okay. All right, so we've got some cauliflower that's going. The cauliflower leaves look great. Have not seen any heads yet. We only have like 3 of those, well, 4 of those. But it's been pretty warm here, so I don't know if we're going to get some cauliflower in the fall, but that could happen. But those cauliflower look very healthy. First year growing cauliflower, I'm pretty happy with that. I have not seen a huge issue with cabbage worms yet with them, so I'm not sure if we're going to get that or not. But all those onions right there. Okay, so then more zinnias right here that are doing fabulous. More onions right here. Here is my troublesome area of the garden. This is the area that I'm very disappointed in, very unhappy with right now. We had originally 7 or 9 tomato plants, 8 that were San Marzano, 1 black Krim. I have very much struggled with my tomatoes this year, and I'm very sad because I had a lot of goals for my tomatoes, a lot of goals to make. Sorry, you guys, that truck just went by. A lot of goals to do ketchup, barbecue sauce, tomato paste, pizza sauce. I had huge goals, and that's why we put this string trellis up. And if you don't know about the string trellis, there's all kinds of information about this online, but this was something I've researched for a couple of years, and then we put it up this year. We're growing vertically, so our tomatoes look completely different than they did last year. So let's talk first of all about the string trellis. The one thing about the string trellis you want to do is you want to make sure that you are really cleaning up your leaves and trimming stuff back because you want good airflow. And so I've worked at trying to get a lot of good airflow underneath my tomatoes. This San Marzano, not doing too bad. I've actually have a lot of tomatoes on there. The issue is I see no new growth, no new blooms, and I have a little bit of leaf curl here, and the soil is fine. I'm not sure if it's too hot. I'm not sure what's going on. This one right here, I feel like maybe it's been hit by a virus. I have not seen a hornworm on it, but it has not gone anywhere. It's not grown at all in weeks. I had 2 others on the other side of the garden that did this, and I pulled them. So I'm just about ready to pull that one. I actually, what I tried, it has, see, it's got all these, I don't know if we've got blight going on here. I just don't know what's going on, but if anybody has any thoughts. I do not think this is herbicide drift because we really live in a farming community originally, but there's lots of houses going on up around us, so there's really no farming going on around us anymore. So I don't really think it's herbicidal drift. But I tried to throw some Epsom salt in there to see if I could get some magnesium in to see if maybe that would help. I don't want to put too much in the ground yet, too much more. And I fertilized it about 3 weeks ago as well. Nothing has changed with this plant. So if by the weekend this isn't better, it's actually, I'm going to pull it because it's just taking up room and I can put something else in there. These San Marzanos, not so bad. This one does have some blooms, but they actually have not gotten any new fruit in a while. I'm not sure if I'm going to get new fruit. So I have some frustration with the San Marzanos. They've not gone really well, and I was so excited about them this year. I also have done some research and wondered if maybe it has been too hot. We've had a lot of hot days, and in Indiana, that's kind of unusual for us to have 90-degree days for a long periods of time. So I just purchased a shade cloth that I'm going to try to drape over this, maybe connect it to that trellis or over to that trellis to see if maybe it's a 20, it still like lets in, I think it shades at 25%. So it gives it a little bit of shade, and I've heard that that helps. So I'll try that. The Black Krim though is doing fabulous. So yeah, this is my favorite tomato of all time, my favorite eating, slicing tomato. It looks hideous when you pull it off the vine, but you can see we're still getting some new growth, some new tomatoes, and it's growing up that trellis quite nicely. It's the best tomato we have in the garden right now. So I'm pretty happy with that, just not super happy with the San Marzanos. We do have some blushing going on down here though, so I think we'll go ahead and pull some of the, we'll let that sit on till the end of the day, but it'll probably be more blushed by the end of the day. And those are a little blushing too, so I'll wait and pull those. But normally I pull the blushing tomatoes and let them sit on the countertop or outside on the table and continue to finish ripening. All right, so that is our second garden. Looks fabulous. Yeah, beautiful. I am just in heaven every morning when I come out and I look at this. I just get very frustrated with the tomatoes. All right, let's go over here. So this is my 3x12 garden. This garden right here was our garlic patch, and we got 64 heads of garlic out of here that are braided, plus we got a whole bucket of seed. So I don't think I'm going to put garlic in here this year. I think because this is what's going on in this garden now. Here we've got some, I don't remember what that is, but that is a flower of some sort, and I cannot recall what it is. It's not a zinnia, but it's something that I planted from seed and put in there, and it's getting ready to bloom. So I'm not sure. I've got a couple of onions that I threw in there with the garlic because I didn't have room anyplace else. But this is now our strawberry patch. Those are actually some flowers there too. Well, we're still getting some strawberries. They're small. I would anticipate that next year we're going to get a better dose of strawberries. There's a red one right there. They're not super big, but these are Juneberry strawberries. So I have some straw that I'm getting ready to throw in there later today to kind of help with, because I don't want those laying on the dirt. Just have not had time to do that. So this is going to be a strawberry patch moving forward. And I think what I'm going to do this fall is I'm going to, here right in the middle of this garden, I'm going to do garlic all the way down the middle of that garden, and then it'll get pulled next June. That's my plan so far. All right, so those are our three main gardens. Let's go over to the herb garden, see how things are going. So this is the lemon balm. I've already pulled some lemon balm this year. It's getting ready to go to seed. You can see it's starting to flower here, but lemon balm is, oh, so smells just like lemon. I'm not kidding about that. And it is in the peppermint family. It grows pretty quickly and can be kind of invasive, which I'm okay with because I actually dry it and we use it for tea in the wintertime. So I've already gotten, we still had some left over, and I just filled my half-gallon jar back up. So my goal was to have a half gallon of each tea this year, because we do drink a lot of tea in the winter, but half a gallon is plenty for Steve and I. We've got some daisies. We have bee balm. You actually can take bee balm like this and you can dry it and then use it in your tea. But at one point in time, this whole thing was full of bee balm, and I accidentally killed it, and it has killed me. But the daisies have taken over, which is also beautiful. We've got some more lemon balm here. This is fresh new lemon balm. If I wanted to, I could cut that and dehydrate that so that we would have some lemon balm. I could do that. I'm not sure if I need any more this year though, so I might not, but this is not really gone to seed yet, so that's actually pretty good. All right, then we've got some potted plants, but I wanted to show you also, those are some radishes. We did radishes in the other garden. They've already come out. These radishes aren't quite ready to pull yet, but thought I would try my hand at radishes. Come to find out, I really like radishes. They were really good in our salads, and I would like to do some pickling of radishes before the end of the season, so we had that throughout the winter. Then here we have some lettuce that I'm growing. This tender leaf lettuce, it makes me not want to eat any lettuce from the store anymore. It's so yummy. I think I'm going to try to grow that inside this year in the wintertime so that we have fresh salads in the winter. That would be something new for me, but I'll share that if we do that. All right, this is our Meyer lemon tree. I bought that, did a video on that when I first got it. It's doing pretty well. I would say it's probably doubled in size. I will be bringing that in the winter time. We have some blooms down here. And it looks like we've got some fruit. Let's see if I can show you guys. If you can see that or not. No, it's hard for me to. But see that little green area right there? It looks like we might have our first fruit. So I don't know what that's going to be like, but I'm excited about that. So it's all kinds of people that grow lemon Meyer trees inside, but they really like a lot of heat. So I've put them out on the patio just to kind of get them flourishing. But I'm going to basically, I guess you would call hardening it off by taking it inside, in and out in the fall to kind of acclimate it to the indoors. And then I'm going to probably put it in a bigger pot so it gives it more opportunity to grow. There's some more flowers, some more pollinators I put in. These are all pollinators. All right, let's get over here into the herb garden. So we put this in this year. I've already shared a little bit about this. This right here is our orange mint tea. I've already cut some of it back. Of course, if you know, the cardinal rule is to not cut more than 1/3 of your plant. So I really don't want to cut any more right now until that gets nice and full. So I'm waiting for that to grow a little bit more. I would say in another month, we'll be able to harvest some mint tea. But by fall, my plan is to have hopefully 1/2 gallon of orange mint tea. There's some basil, just using this for fresh eating right now. We have more than enough basil stored from last year in the freezer with some pesto. I could probably use some dried basil. I might dry that later on. If you don't know, basil likes, in the heat of the summer, likes to bolt and then it gets bitter. So when you start to see these flowers, like this looks like it's getting ready to flower, but I'm going to hold off to see if it actually does sprout a little flower or if those are more leaves. If you pull those off, you can stunt that bolting and make your basil last longer. This is dill, waiting it to just go to seed. We've actually pulled pretty much all the dill off. It's in the dehydrator right now. Here is cilantro that's now coriander. I've got more cilantro I just bought that I'm going to put. We have a lot of coriander coming, so that coriander seed you can either let drop and see if it comes back next year, which is pretty much my plan because I don't use a lot of coriander in my cooking. I'm going to try that. This is berry mint tea and strawberry mint in particular. Also going to do the same thing with that and try to get some tea. We've got some thyme, rosemary, and sage all right in there. They're doing okay. The sage I've used, or the thyme I've used a little bit. I used the rosemary for some jam I made. It's kind of, I don't know if we're going to get much more. I probably cut too much down, but I needed it for my jam, and that's what I wanted to do. So that's what happened. This is chamomile. We are getting, by the end of the day, I will probably get more chamomile. I'm getting chamomile tea, chamomile flowers off this thing every single day, putting it in the dehydrator. It smells fabulous. And my goal was to have, well, my goal was just to have like a jelly jar full. I'm about halfway full. So I might end up getting maybe a pint before the end of the season. I probably should have planted more chamomile, but I didn't. If I find more at Garden Center, I might go ahead and get some more, but it's kind of late in the season to find it. And last but least is our apple mint. And this whole area right here needs to be weeded a little bit, but the apple mint tea, I'm not sure if we're going to get very much of that. It's kind of slower growing than the other peppermints, but maybe. And I would want apple mint, strawberry mint, and orange mint teas this year, along with the lemon balm. So we had 4 different teas to choose from out of our garden. Okay, so I promised you I would take you back here to show you my raspberry plants. So these are my bare root raspberries. I've tried to dig under here. I thought there was some greenery coming up, and well, it's not. Nothing's happening really. I think that, and then I noticed that right here that now all of a sudden these roots are exposed, which they weren't originally. So I feel like I need to throw some more dirt in there. I don't know if they're not getting enough water, but this is, they should be getting enough sun, probably just not getting enough water. But I did bare root plants I got from M.I. Gardener. I don't think it was a bad root that I got from M.I. Gardener. I think I probably just have done something incorrectly here. So if you have any thoughts on that, it might be that it's too dry. I don't know. I soaked the roots. I did everything I was supposed to do. Although there is something coming up here. I'm not really sure if that is part of the root. So I'm going to throw some more soil. I actually have some more composted soil I could throw on top of that. It kind of feels like it's come up off the ground. So something is absolutely going on with the raspberry plants. All right, guys. So that is my garden tour for today. And probably we'll do another one in August so you can just kind of see how things are going. I thank you so much for joining me. If you have any ideas on what's going on with my tomato plants or anything that I can do to help with those tomato plants, I would way appreciate that. If you saw something in my garden that helped you, please like and subscribe, because we have other things that we're going to be sharing on this channel. I also would love any suggestions you have about my garden. So if there's something that you see that you think that you could help with, please put it in the comment section. And we hope you're having the best day. Have the best 4th of July. We'll see you soon. Bye.